Hello, I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and we need help.
Each week we stumble through a new book, method, or concept that brings us one step closer to being our best self.
Yes, we make fun of ourselves.
And others.
But mostly just ourselves. So here's to not taking self-help quite so seriously.
Hey guys, it's Izzy and Lizzy, and today we are re-releasing part 2 of our Narcissism episode in honor of Lizzy's discard phase anniversary with her own personal narcissist. Yeah.
You know, I'm not taking ownership of her. She does not belong to me. No, she's somebody else's narcissist now.
Yeah. Somebody else's narcissist
yeah,
now.
she definitely, she's on to another target.
Yeah, and I just think we should celebrate stuff like that. Like, we should celebrate.
Oh my God. Yes.
Like being freed from there. Like, that should be, cause for celebration. Like, they should make Hallmark invitations like that.
They were, okay, maybe we'll get together on that later. That's a great idea. Yeah, congratulations on being free from your narcissist. But I did listen to the episode. You didn't yet. I re-listened to it, and oh my God, I was like so stressed out. Even at that point, I was so much less myself. Even at that point, I noticed. I was like, oh my God, like I sounded so stressed.
I did notice it because I re-listened to episode 1, and I did notice that too. Like even in your body, like your body was tense. Like, you were like,
Yeah, because I hadn't realized it, that I had like been under so much pressure and manipulation for so long with that. I didn't realize it until seeing myself now versus then. And every day I become more of myself, because they do suck the life out of you.
Yeah, but physically too, right?
They actually are known. They're like known for it. Yeah, it's physical. That's one thing we didn't talk about in the episode. And I don't know if I didn't know about it yet, but I had all this blood work done afterward. And they said that I was extremely low on testosterone, which is why I ended up getting the pellet. If you haven't listened to that episode, you have to. It's so good. But what I didn't realize is, which Betsy, the nutritionalist who's amazing here in Naples, Betsy Opt is her name, she literally told me that I said, am I I'm 45? Am I in menopause? She goes, that's actually not what caused it. I'm not in menopause, but it is from adrenal fatigue. It's from being under an immense amount of stress for a very long time. And I'm not giving the narcissist all the credit for that, because we were in COVID, and I also had been through, when an immense amount of stress after Irma, the hurricane that actually kind of booted us off of our dream island.
But she didn't do anything to help relieve your stress. Let's just say.
No. And I had no idea that she was working behind me, gaslighting constantly. And I realize it now, because all the people I've surrounded myself with are super, have my best interest in mind, and are very, very authentic people. But she said that if you're under an immense amount of stress for a very long time, your body, it depletes your body of testosterone, which oddly really does calm you, especially as a woman. It actually makes you calmer, and we can release all the women jokes, female jokes now. Testosterone is it's really, really causes, or it helps you with stress. So if you're under an immense amount of abuse from a narcissist, whether or not covert or malice, or overt, as sometimes they're referred to, it really can make you
physically ill.
Physically ill. They can make you fat. It can, because testosterone will, if you're low on it, it makes you gain weight. I mean, come on.
I didn't know that.
Like, it could get any worse with these horrible people.
Jesus, like, not only do they, like, take over your, like, psyche, they make you fat. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with being fat.
Right, but
if you don't want to be fat,
get rid of that narcissist.
Might be like, yeah, you got to lose. I had to lose like 130 pounds.
Oh, so yeah, I can't wait to re-listen to this episode, and I'm really excited. And yeah, like in there's going to be like what happens, like tips on what to do. My favorite is the gray rock. It's to become as uninteresting as possible for the narcissist. Gray rocking it. Like a gray rock.
It was so funny. I listened to it, and you said, "How do you become gray rock?"
Yeah, Lizzie's like can't be gray rock if she tried.
And I think I took that as a compliment. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode, and I hope they become, untrauma bonded with these people that are really bad people. Because we all know one.
Yeah, just saying. And if you don't, that means you're it.
Just saying. That's you. They did say that if you question whether or not you're a narcissist, you can't be a narcissist. A narcissist would never question whether or not they're a narcissist.
Because I question that daily.
Yeah, I do too. I actually do too.
Good.
But, yeah, you're safe. Yeah. But enjoy the episode, guys, and good luck shedding the weight of your narcissist. Welcome to We Need Help. I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and today we are doing part 2 of reviewing the Narcissist Playbook by Dana Morningstar.
Dana, we love you.
Thank you for writing this book.
You have no idea how many people have reached out to me.
It's almost like I wrote the book.
I know. I have been sending them to thriveafterabuse.com. When they do reach out to me, because man, these motherfucking narcissists and takers and users and manipulators and losers, they get a hold of people and they destroy their confidence and their life for a very long time in some cases.
Yeah, and we talked about it a lot in episode 1. Like, we shared our personal stories. We talked about what narcissists do, how they do it. It's a sneaky business. And like, I think what was important for me is just to say, I don't got to play the game, like it takes 2, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it takes 2 to play the game. Yeah. Is it 2 to tango?
It's tango, but I've never tangoed.
It takes 2 to make a thing go right.
It takes 2 to make it out of sight. Ooh. Have you ever tangoed?
No, but I have a fantasy of doing it with someone. And it leads to other things.
Like the foxtrot?
No, it's not.
Oh.
Yeah, I wanted the scent of a woman, that whole tango thing. Oh.
Yeah, that was hot.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. I want to tango with people. Many, many people. No, I'm just kidding.
You have tangoed with a lot of people.
Have I? Wait, no, I haven't. I'm not tangoed with any. Yeah.
All
who could probably tango is my dad. He could probably teach
You think
me.
your dad could tango?
Yeah, he's a really good dancer.
You don't want to tango with
I don't want to tango because of my fantasy. I don't want to tango with my dad, but he could teach me how to tango, and then no, I think it's ruined. I can't tango with my dad now.
You can't. Yeah.
The scent of your daughter doesn't work. No can do. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm in the dark here.
I'm your dad here.
I'm in your dad here. What?
Wait, what's happening? Okay, let's get down to business because this is a this is a really, really cool topic because we're going from what is a narcissist, how it affects your life, which is basically a narcissist will come in and like they're cancerous to your whole life, really.
But it makes you question your own reality. And I think that I was thinking about it over the weekend after we recorded, like, what is the worst thing about that? And I think it's because, like, questioning your reality is like the worst abuse. Like you start questioning your sanity, your reality, and I think that's what happens.
Well, and it's somewhat because I've seen many of them. They say that the truth is drama, and that their drama is the truth. They have a completely different way of looking at things, and if you bring up the truth, you're dramatic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's what's really important. If somebody starts calling your facts drama, you might have a narcissist.
Yeah.
You might have a user.
Who's that guy? You might be a redneck if. You might be a narcissist if. You might be dealing with a narcissist if. We need to make like a combination.
It's so funny. Half of it is knowing what you're dealing with, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was what we covered in the first episode, but now we want to get the fuck out. This is why I'm wearing a green shirt today. Like, green means go, like, get me out. Like, run.
Run.
So, yeah, so we got the red flags, what are they, how to spot it, but now what to do.
Do you think that
your
narcissists that you had in the past, we named them Aaron and
Becky.
I almost called her Jessica for something, like baby Jessica.
Oh, yeah.
Like down in the well. But Aaron and Becky, do you think that they've changed at all? Do you have any idea?
I know Becky has not. She's incapable of change. I think for a narcissist to change, it would have to have some type of slight self-awareness. I'm not sure. I'm really curious. Maybe we can do that in the afterbirth. Maybe I can
stalk her. That
somehow
sounds toxic.
Maybe I can stalk my narcissist. Do you think that sounds healthy?
Oh my God, that's such a good idea.
Sounds so healthy.
But I think just get close enough to the fire to get burned if you possibly could.
Yeah. No, I know that Becky has not. Becky was just a toxic friend who was. Yeah, go to episode 1. You can hear all about it.
Becky. We're going to start calling her
Rebecca. And then Aaron was just a guy I dated, and I'm not sure if he's changed. I would have to contact his current partner.
One of my favorite things my friend Vivian said, she I had posted about our narcissist episode, my favorite line, she said, my narcissist is dead, thankfully. That was her first line.
That is thankful.
It was like,
oh my God.
That's how you know you've been hurt. And this person is a kind person. Like, for her to say that, I was like, oh, okay, this motherfucker hurt her badly.
Must have been bad. So listen, I think for the afterbirth, we should try to see, can narcissists be reformed? Like, let's have that be the topic for the afterbirth. Because I would love to know or hear, if our listening audience, if you know any narcissists that have reformed, that are no longer narcissists, I would love to hear from you. Yeah, let us know.
We will profile them. No, I'm just kidding. Well, she did touch on this, and she said, can they change? And it does take the theoretical model of change, which was originally formulated in the 70s for addiction. Mm-hmm. She said that they can change, but it's very unlikely, much like addiction. It's hard to get out of.
Yeah, it's 3% that recover.
Yeah, so it's not looking good. So in our, maybe you should run. Maybe you should run. But it says she said pre-contemplation, which is where they deny and minimize, and they start crying to apologize, but they really don't mean it, and they just like addicts do. Yeah. Then contemplation, where they're like, this is kind of not working for me. This is probably when they're losing their family. They've started to affect themselves with their self-centered manipulation
Behavior, yeah.
Then the third step is they start to prepare or become determined to change, where they start planning. For an addict, it would be like going to AA. For one of these people, it's hard to call them people because there really is they're tough because they don't do nice things to people's lives. But they start planning and gathering resources to change. Fourth is they start taking action. And I was driving, so I didn't get the fifth. So we'll have to afterbirth that.
We'll afterbirth the fifth. The most important piece.
And fifth, no, I do remember it. You have to put it, or they start to practice.
Implement the changes.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds very parallel to addiction. I think their addiction as narcissists is the manipulation of people.
It really is. Like they get pings from it. They get dopamine from it. They get for my narcissist, it was like she loved being the hero for people, and she really does enjoy spending other people's money. You can tell it works for her. Like she gets a little something out of it, a little boom,
Boing.
She gets
a lady boner.
Lady bone.
So what the heck to do? What the heck to do when you are trying to get out of a relationship with a narcissist? Like, what did you do?
I think once you realize it, you go into a spiral. Once it's time, like you see it and you can't unsee it. That's the bad part.
Okay.
You can't just settle in nicely into your comfortable narcissist sheets that you've been used to. Like once you've seen it, you got to get, like, something's got to change.
So tell us about your extraction story. How did you get free? And can you give a little background without details, but like, just so, was that her? No. I'm just kidding. Just like a little background, just so our listening audience isn't totally lost. Like,
well, much like
in very general.
It was a friend of mine. This we went into as much detail as I'm willing to go because honestly, she doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, she was wonderful in the beginning, total honeymoon friend stage. We all know that friend part, like that when you realize that you're clicking with a friend and then you want to know everything about them. Yeah. And then we were in a relationship that served one of our needs, so we were paying her. And it was directly connected to our child. And it was probably pretty toxic from the beginning, just now looking back, because one of the things I did recently when all this came down to the end is I wrote the timeline of the story of our friendship. And there were so many red flags, but I just, of course, ignored them. And then
that's what Mel talks about that in this, not Mel, Dana Morningstar talks about that. She said, like, those early warning signs, don't ignore them. But you ignored them.
I ignored them. And they just got deeper and deeper and deeper and more involved in this relationship. And, be careful of the we, because I love the term we. It creates a team and everybody's working towards a common goal. But I think narcissists use we as a weapon. So they get you totally involved in what they're doing, and you care about it as much as they do. And that's basically what happened. And then about, I think it was last August, I had seen a side of her that I couldn't ignore. And it was because it was happening to another parent. And of course, the one thing the universe gave me, God, whatever, is a strong moral compass. Yeah, I haven't always used it, but
It's been there.
it's there, and
Sometimes there's magnets around it.
yeah. It literally well, I mean, you can justify anything if you try hard enough, but I was torn up inside watching it. And it I didn't know how to deal with it, and then I just couldn't deny all of the stuff I was seeing that I had obviously denied for quite some time before that.
Was there a moment of truth?
Yes.
What was
That's
it?
how I can't tell it. I can't.
Okay.
There is, it's just
But it
too
was there.
vulnerable. Yes.
Yeah.
It was, it was there. And that's how I learn is a veil gets lifted and then I see clearly. I don't ever just come to little nibble, and then all of a sudden I'm wise. I get a piece of cake smashed in my face and then I'm like, oh, okay.
Eureka.
Yeah, exactly. So I started to put up boundaries at that point, and I started to cut off the assets, cut off my time. I went in here. They call it gray rock, where you don't react to things because I realized I was being manipulated.
Dana talks about that. So to our listeners, gray rock is like a situation where you can't, because you couldn't have no contact at first. It wasn't like you could just cut off immediately. So
and you got to keep in mind, these people, they will convince you that you can't go anywhere else and get what you're getting from them.
Yeah, and I've been watching lots of Netflix lately and these stories of these women, and they will convince you that you can't live without them. You will not be able to function without them.
Yeah.
So if you can't go no contact with a manipulator and you can't get them out of your life immediately for whatever reason, you implement this technique called gray rock, and you become as unexciting and uninteresting as a gray rock.
A gray rock. So I became the gray rock.
How did you do that? You were the opposite of a gray rock.
Well, because I had been so extremely involved in everything, just going down to normal was a
gray rock.
Yeah.
It was gray rocking it.
It was gray rocking well, and it's so funny, I went less for Christmas than, of course, the year before I did for everybody, and it was still 200% more than most of the people did in the environment. So it was for me, gray rock looks more I don't know, I'm going down from a diamond to a, amethyst. I just love so intensely, and that's not a good thing. I'm trying, I've learned from this. My friend MJ, she's don't give away your friendship the way that I do. So I've really I'm trying to be better. It's not always good, but but I went down to gray rock for my version of gray rock, which was still including everybody, but it just wasn't going over and above. It wasn't, let me just tell you, it was so crazy. I stopped raising her children for her, or, I just stopped doing a lot of the extreme extras that I was doing, and just it took it down to a business relationship. And I did.
So what happens?
I did say to her I was doing that. We'll try to get our friendship back, but because the trust and respect had ended in it. and the loyalty had ended in it. So I said, we'll try to get that back. From right now, we'll just do business relationship. Well, that meant me putting up boundaries on all of my personal stuff, and she did not like that.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask next is, sorry, hang on. Sorry.
You're fine.
I got a little gray rock stuck in
A little gray rock.
So what happens when you start, so you are the, like, narcissist is like the parasite feeding on you and their food source starts retreating. What happens? What does the narcissist start doing?
Well, I mean, they'll move to where they will become so desperate that first they're going to mean girl you if it's a friend. If it's a boyfriend or a mate, they're going to just scare you into thinking that they can get so much better than you, and that it's the same in a friendship because she was like almost rubbing another friendship in my face, which was fine. Like, I mean, at that point I was like, I don't think this is not good. And then I started to like, and she was like she was separating, creating triangle after triangle. She was going behind my back saying that, I didn't know shit about certain things that she taught me. That's the greatest part. And that's what they do. They will go behind your back and start a smear campaign. The problem is when because I was so like trying for everyone to have a good outcome, that people were like, this doesn't make sense. It really, like, people kept coming to me and being like, okay, this is weird. Like, she's saying this. Because I would be like, I mean, like, to the point of stuff that I would be like, according to this certain person, because she had taught me everything I knew about it. Like, so I was actually saying her what she had said to me. But she was going back and smearing me and that's what they do. They all do this.
So it is really difficult to extract yourself. So, like, well done for doing it. That's all I have to say.
Well, and it was really like I became so angry and resentful, and I finally told the truth. I said, okay, I'm being set up. I'm being gaslit. Like, I recognized it, like, finally. And I went and started telling people the truth. I started telling everyone the truth, and she decided to remove me from the situation, but I was not happy in. I'm so like, it was so crazy. I was so unhappy, but she had me so convinced that I couldn't go anywhere else.
Yeah, I love that you said that because I remember a third narcissist just come into my brain.
Ooh.
And it was right before I came into recovery, and I didn't know how to extract myself. And so I was praying. I'm a believer in connecting with the higher power, and I was praying, and I just said, kind of like what you did, when you were in a relationship with a different one where you're like, give me a window. And I said, give me a window. And we were coming back from a trip. And we got off, we were taking a train back. We got off at the train station. He goes, you know what? This isn't working for me. And he dumped me. And I was like, oh, I was so happy because I was so miserable. And I was like, it was so hard for me to leave. And he did it. I was like, yes.
It was so funny because like, I had basically, asked if things were going to be changing in January or we would find a new place. I also, I like, she was begging me to stay at that point, but they do that. They do that a lot. Like they try to, it's called hoovering. They're gonna hoover you. Like when you start to lay down boundaries, they're gonna try to suck you back in.
Yeah.
you know. So she said, you know, it's clear that you're not happy in this situation, and it was so wonderful to write. And I said, you know what, you're right. I'm so unhappy. I had been going against my core for so long in this relationship that, I mean, just to write those words, you know what? You're right. I'm not happy. This is horrible. You know, and I went back and, you know, what you got to do is once you realize it, play on your exit strategy.
Yeah.
If you can't, if it's a divorce, women have reached out to me in this. Many women have reached out to me. And if you're not dead, it's not too late with a narcissist. That's what you have to understand.
And if you're stuck, because there are these situations like you cannot leave, you have children with them, you can't get them out of your life, then just the gray rock technique, just make yourself completely be a cardboard cutout.
That's what I did, and she ended up getting rid of me, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You know, our ego wants to be the one to break up with the person.
Yeah. I'm fine with people breaking up with me.
Oh, God.
Because I have a fear of confrontation. So if you make that choice, thank you.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't want to be the breaker upper, but you know, like they won't keep you around if you tell the truth.
And if you're boring, like if you don't feed their whatever they need.
Yeah. A lot of times they're taking financially. Like if you pull back those reins, girl, that is.
But can we talk about, because like you talked about the anger and the rage and, you know, the resentment, but there was a lot of sadness.
I was so sad.
Can we talk about the sadness?
Yeah, let's talk about it, because I think it's really important to understand that you're going to have grief in the removal of this person, because they have wrapped themselves around every organ in your body. They have gotten their tentacles in everything. So removing them is hard, and they're charming. And they make you feel special on purpose.
And I think that's the main, when I was in the relationship with both these narcissists, the Aaron and Becky.
Yeah.
I was afraid I would never meet anyone as special, because that's what they had convinced me of. Yeah. Like Aaron was like, you're never going to meet a guy that loves you as much as I do, that's as successful and hot as I am. And I believed it for a while.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, you know what? I don't care, because I feel horrible with you. I don't care if I never meet anyone who loves me as much, because I feel horrible.
Well, and I think checking in with yourself like that is important. Like, how do you feel in this relationship? Because I'll tell you, for the last year in this particular relationship that I'm talking about, I have slowly lost myself. This is just a friendship. This isn't like me living with the person. I can't imagine what it's like to live with a full-on, well, yes, I can. I have. Yes, I can. But, I mean, you lose yourself to the point, like, check in with yourself. Like, are you the same person you were a year ago? Is your light as bright as it was?
Do you want to know something? I don't know if you know this, but I have to tell you this. This is a moment in our friendship. I was in Chicago with my ex, who was a narcissist, and we met I was leaving on my way to the airport, and I ran into Gap to buy something, and you were at the Gap, a random Gap. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember this. You were buying something, I think, for Scarlett. And I think I was like, what do you think of this guy? And you said, you're not as shiny when you're with him. And that's all you said. And that made me realize, like, the person I'm with should make me shinier. Aww. I don't know if I'm going to cry, because that was so important. Like, that stuck with me forever. I love you too. And
I love your shine.
Wait, can we do a banter break so I can powder my nose?
I love your shininess. You're so shiny. You're your soul is shiny.
But that's what you said, you're not as shiny, and that's all you said, and made me realize, like, this is not the person I can be with, because I'm not my best self. here.
Oh my
And that's what
God.
you're talking about, checking in with yourself. Am I my best self? Am I feeling really good about myself with this person?
Well, yeah, and we all have healthy friendships that we know.
Yeah.
Like you are one of my healthy friendships. I've got my friend Jess is one of my friend Catherine, my friend MJ. Like I have these people that I respect as much as they respect me. Like it's like it feels healthy because I'm excited to see them. My friend Lena. But if you ask them, like, what do you think of this person? They will tell you. Sometimes they will tell you. Like like your dad that with Aaron.
Yeah.
He said he's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you heard him. Like
Yeah.
find the person you respect the most and ask them what they actually think. Oh, my sister called this bitch out years ago.
I love that.
Chuck Norris, we call her Chuck Norris. If you haven't listened to her episode, it's hilarious.
Yeah, she's so funny.
She's so funny, but she's the real deal, and she's right about almost everything. It's not a good place or a fun place to be, but she is always right. She called this. She was like, oh, she's a carny.
Yeah.
Carny. She's a carny.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. Like she's always really graceful about what she says too, but she's always right.
So should we take a banter break actually so I can powder my nose because I think I'm too shiny, and then
You're so beautiful.
and then we can maybe talk about a couple strategies that people
Let's
can,
talk about how to get the fuck out of this. And let's talk about how it feels, because it don't feel good.
No, it don't. And
it
you know what? Here's what I want to say before we go on a banter break, and I'll end in this. It doesn't. When I was trying to leave this Becky, I called my mentor and I said, I want to leave, but I want everybody to be okay with me leaving. And she goes, that's impossible.
I love it.
She goes, you want your cake and you want to eat it too. She goes, you need to realize leaving is going to be difficult and there's going to be unhappy people. Once you accept that, it's going to be okay. And that made me, wow, because I was wanting to leave and it to be comfortable. It's impossible.
Yeah. It's growing pains are never comfortable, are they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's take a banter break.
Yeah, let's do it.
I love you. I'll see you in a little bit.
See you in a bit.
Welcome back. That's all I got. Was that good? I thought that was kind of good.
I thought that was a little funeral homey.
That's what I was going for. So it was
Funeral
good.
homey.
Funeral. Yeah, speaking of funeral, you have to make the narcissist dead to you.
You're dead to me.
You're dead to me. And then rip your collar. Yeah.
Can you tell me what those, like, you were talking about when we were on our banter break about the different stages of narcissist abuse.
Okay.
Can you talk about that?
So
'Cause it's interesting.
They're all the same.
Yeah.
All users, manipulators, malice manipulators, con artists, narcissists, whatever you want to call these people, they're all the same. So once the trust is broken in the relationship, and it happens at like a light switch. It might be somebody hitting you. It might be somebody stealing from you. It might be somebody not holding up some end of their bargain. They are going to expect them to do anything to pull you back. They'll become a charmer. They'll become abusive. They'll intimidate you. They'll sometimes act like a broken winged bird. Like,
save me.
Yeah, they'll definitely like play stupid. I didn't have any idea that this was going to be like this. If I could do it all over again, I would be this person. And if you find yourself like explaining adult basics, like how to be a nice person or how to be a friend or how to be a kind person, how to be like a normal person, you might be dealing with a narcissist, because everybody knows how to be nice. Like, everyone knows how to like be normal. Like
Most people.
Most
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Like not psychopaths, not like a narcissist
Yeah.
personality, not, you know, so,
Yeah.
and then they're going to start rapidly pushing your buttons. They're going to rewrite reality. They're going to tell it with like half truths or full on lies. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. All that matters to them is that they are winning. They're going to win.
Yeah.
They will then, and they always do, launch a smear campaign.
Okay.
And they're going to put you down. You're going to be crazy. You're going to be dramatic. You're going to be, you're going to be, you know, some
Yeah.
sort of nutty. You know,
Yeah.
you're going to be the broken one, and they're the ones that are right. They're going to make you look like the problem, no matter what.
Oh my gosh, I love how my dad's smarter than Aaron, because Aaron tried to do this with my family. She's an addict. She needs help. She's insane. And my dad's like, fuck off. She's my daughter. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And
but
all
it's
you
hard
have to
'cause,
do,
yeah.
like if somebody is trying to do this to another person, it's really hard to see. But I was actually talking to a victim last night, I'm sorry, not a victim, a former target of a narcissist. And once you learn these things, you can see them clearly. She said, "Oh, I saw her clearly."
Yeah. And have you watched Bad Vegan on Netflix yet?
I started it. I haven't finished it yet.
There's a part where he isolates her from her family and then starts telling her family that she's kind of gone off the deep end, and they start like they don't know what to believe because they don't really have contact with her, and they're kind of okay, you know. So that's this whole smear thing. That's completely right. Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't like, I am so tired of myself in this too. I don't like conflict, but I'm going to tell you, I have very little respect for somebody who will sit idle while bad things are being said about people and not stick up for them.
Yeah.
I think that's a real problem. And my mom taught me well. She said, if you're ever witness to someone being bullied or being, you know, smearing is bullying, you're just as much of the problem unless you say something. And you say,
Yeah.
Or you can even say, you know what, I'd really rather you didn't say anything like that about this particular person, whatever. But you have to say something.
Yeah.
Now, and I love that your mentor said this, you can't get out of these relationships and keep all your friends.
Yeah, or be comfortable. That's what you have to accept. This will be hard, everybody. This is not easy. So I think because we want it to be easy. We want to feel good about it. You're not going to feel good about it.
It's going to be hard.
It's not going to be easy. So that's
Yeah,
it. Just
be hard.
accept that.
And
Yeah.
people are going to be on the side of your abuser. They are.
They may be.
They
Yeah.
will be. They will
Yeah.
be. No matter how good you are. I'm going to tell you, I literally tried everything to be kind in this situation. I tried everything. You know, I literally wanted the best for everybody. And it did.
It's impossible. That's an impossible task.
People still
Yeah.
did what is A, convenient for them, or B, they still believed her because she's better at manipulation. She's better.
Well, I know this is what happened with Becky because she had power as a person. She was sort of a powerful person.
Yeah.
And people were afraid to leave her.
Yes.
So I think fear keeps people in relationships.
Yeah, that is what keeps it. Fear, anxiety, anger, and hatred. By the way, all those things are warning signs. If you're feeling that in a relationship, notice that, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she's going to get he's going to get his flying monkeys going. Flying monkeys are the people that reach out to you and kind of try to attempt to provoke something out of you. Like they love to provoke people into things.
That happened with Aaron, his mom. he's really suffering.
Yeah.
It happened with Becky too.
Yeah.
One of our mutual friends, like, she's really upset that you're not, talking to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but at that point, I was done.
Well, it was funny because this particular situation, the next target basically became her flying monkey, and reached out to me. So good. Reached out to me and said, first of all, I'm too involved of a parent. She made me, she put down my parenting in an article. She sent that to me. And then she said that, because of my background, like everyone knows, I had an interesting childhood, that I crave drama in my relationships. And of course, everyone knows that if you are in one of these relationships, you've become comfortable with red flags. You're not craving drama. You're comfortable. Like, if you've found yourself. So, and I wanted to go into her and say, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. But what I did was I said nothing. I went nothing with it. And you have to, with these flying monkeys, don't interact with them.
Don't feed the monkey.
Don't feed.
Why can't you do it? Why can't you set your monkey free? All you giving into it. Do you love the monkey or do you love me? George Michael.
I love George Michael so much.
Oh my God.
My
that
first
monkey
love.
song. My first love.
Oh, we're so awesome together.
We are.
So yeah,
Okay.
But they'll try to provoke. They want you to be the enemy because then they are right. They're right in picking their narcissist or their user or their abuser or their manipulator. If they go on your side, then they have to be wrong. You have to understand that. Yeah. Like, if people are reaching out to you, whether it be mothers, uncles, sisters, brothers, they have decided to be on the side of that person. And if they don't do, and even worse, what you also have to understand is if people are not on any side, they're on your manipulator's side.
Yeah.
Because if you don't understand that, more is they're doing what's working for them. They don't give a fuck about you. One.
Yeah.
And two, you have to, as an adult, see right from wrong sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to figure out who is safe for you emotionally.
Yeah.
And if they're on the side, they're not safe. And if they're not on any side, they're also not safe.
Yeah. Just for me, what I got out of this a lot, some of the strategies, don't play the game. She has this 7-point plan to changing the game, because it's a game, basically.
For them, it really is a game.
Yeah. And we do not have to play the game, right? So first thing she said, to understand the game. Understand who your opponent is. Understand the opponent's moves. Understand who is on your team, what you're talking about just now. Who's safe and who's unsafe. And act accordingly.
And it's really important, in my opinion, what I've had to do, because there were a lot of different parents involved.
Yeah.
You have to understand and be comfortable with they're not all going to be your friends. They're sometimes you're going to break up a family and you're going to lose half your family.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let me tell you, you'd much rather be stabbed in the front than in the back.
Yeah.
These people are being manipulated too. And you can't save them.
Yeah, you got to save yourself and your own closest circle. Yeah. Yep, she said this, understand yourself, understand how you handle stress, what moves you tend to make and why. That's really important, that self-awareness. Why am I doing this? And that was, I think, the most important piece when I was finally able to free myself from the narcissist It was, where am I seeking relief? It's, if this person likes me, I'm relieved. If she doesn't like me, I'm upset. And really knowing that I am completely emotionally addicted to this person and wanting just to be free of that. So it's like putting down the drug, you know?
Yeah. Well, and know that, like, I think it's really important in all this. She didn't say this. This is the Lizzy's Narcissist Playbook. But, like, and here's the fact. I've lost people that I never could have imagined living without. So understanding that you can leave a person and live.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter how much you love them. It doesn't matter. Because this particular friend I loved so much. I loved her too much. I really did. Like, I was like I literally was willing to give her one of my kidneys.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's another thing that my mentor we focus on this a lot. People cannot be your higher power.
Right. Right.
They can't. You can't, yeah.
They are gonna wanna.
Yep.
They are gonna wanna.
Exactly. Yep. You gotta just say no. And then she said to develop some strategies and practice those strategies. So some of the strategies she said to develop are boundaries, standards, deal breakers. So have those have them anchored within yourself. What are your deal breakers? What are your boundaries? Make a contract with yourself. Write it out. If this happens, this is a deal breaker. That's important, because what happens with narcissists is they push those boundaries ever so slightly. And then you have completely crossed your own boundaries, and you don't even how did that happen?
Trust me.
You know?
At one point I had somebody living in my house. This is
and it's write it out. Write out a contract with yourself.
That's my recommendation is, and this I highly, highly, highly recommend. When you start to feel either fear, anxiety, anger, or hatred in a relationship, take some time and sit down and write down the timeline of your relationship, what's happened. Write it down, because you're going to, all of a sudden it's going to be a red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. And you're going to, it's really mind-boggling, because you see the whole picture. Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that I think that I'm taking from this, and it's helped me, it has helped me in my relationships as well, is responding, not reacting. So just taking, being more neutral in my interaction. Just oh, I'm sorry that you feel that way, or, oh, that sounds really hard. Rather than trying to fix them, because they want you to engage with them. So just
they want you to
sounds really hard.
They want
what are you going to do about that?
All in again. That's because these relationships, they want you to be all in. You have to be all in. And you know what? There's no relationship you should be all in for. Yeah. Except for your relationship with yourself.
Yeah. So,
and they will push. So you just have to not give a fuck about your reputation.
Yeah. And I remember being pushed and just saying, my favorite way to respond is, that sounds really hard. Because the way Aaron would try to get me back was that he was suffering, that he was going to kill himself if I wasn't going to come back to him. And it was, that sounds really hard. I'm really sorry that you feel that way, but not stepping into a rescue role at all.
No.
So,
and that's so they love rescuers, unfortunately. But you understand the game. You understand your opponent. You understand their moves. You have to understand who's on your team.
Yeah.
You have to understand yourself and your Achilles heels. You have to develop strategies, and then you have to practice seeing them. You have to practice seeing them.
Yeah. And the strategies are just start with what are some of your strategies going forward? What's something that you can practice moving forward? For me, it's that practicing not reacting but responding. And that line for me, that sounds really hard, or just not responding right away. You know, when you get a text, writing back right away, just pausing. I think that's a really good strategy in the beginning. What do you think?
That was one of the first boundaries I implemented. And that was not, you know, like that's a huge one because they want you now. They don't want you later.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They want you fucking now. And if you don't respond, you're on their shit list. So yeah, I think that's important. You know, I think going forward and what I've learned from this is that I'm like a forever optimist and I love people. I truly do love souls. I love to get to know people, but the fact of the matter is not everyone is good. And not everyone has your best interest in mind. And you know, for whatever reason, these people are takers and they want to win life. Guess what? We all die. Nobody's winning this.
And on that note, no.
And on that note, goodbye. But like that's what I'm taking is not everyone's in it for the good.
Yeah. I'm also taking fail fast, sort of like recognizing it earlier and just saying goodbye earlier. Because it's much easier to end it earlier than later. Because the more you get involved in it, the more you're like enmeshed.
Yes.
So like early, I did this. You had a great saying that your friend shared, block it or bless it.
Yes.
And I had an acquaintance that showed me an early sign of some narcissistic shit, and I just blocked it immediately, and I felt so good because I didn't get involved. It was great. So recognizing it earlier and saying bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's another thing I'm taking is a red flag is a red flag is a red flag. Yeah. Like, understand that those are not, and I just love when people are hurting or broken. Like, I just love it. It's like, oh, yay.
I'm going to save you.
Don't. Yeah. Don't. And, you know, it's really important. Like, look at past history. Like, look at the history in somebody, you know? And I'm not saying people have to be perfect, whatever. I mean, I've been so imperfect on so many levels. I'm not talking about that. But look at their relationships. If they are alone, that doesn't mean if they have 2,500 Facebook friends. Anybody can get a Facebook friend. I'm talking about the interactions that they have with their family and friends. Look at those. That's important.
Yeah. All right.
Well, what's our next book? It's Gary V.
Oh my gosh, Gary V. I'm so excited for this one.
I love you, Gary V. If you're listening, I pretend Gary V listens to this, and I think he and I would get along famously.
Yeah, I think
you would get along with him too. He would be one of us. He's one of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's so cool.
What's the book?
It's called 12 and a Half.
Ooh, I love that.
I love it too. I've started it. He's amazing. He's so leather and lace, which is like my favorite kind of personality.
Yeah.
And he uses fuck constantly.
Which is your favorite word?
Well, no, it just means that he's passionate and he understands a good word when he sees one. And like he's not afraid to be himself. And he's just the coolest. He's a hardworking man, and I love a hardworking man.
I love me a hardworking man. All right.
Did that get weird?
Sorry, Gary.
Gary, I don't take it back. I take that back. But I will also want to invite you to invite us on your entire beautiful roller coaster. He's on everything. He's on TikTok. He's got podcasts. He's got books. He's got this. I love him.
All right. I love you.
I love you. You're the best. Thank you for this. Best. Thank you for this. I needed this.
Thank you.
This is like amazing.
This was like therapy. This was good.
This was good. All right. Love you.
Love you.
See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Thanks for joining us this week on We Need Help, the podcast, the duct tape of self-help.
Please visit our website, weneedhelpthepodcast.com, where you can find links to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and all the others, so you'll never miss a show.
You'll also find links to the books we've reviewed and our amazing store.
If you enjoy this podcast, go right now, because if you're anything like us, you'll never do it later. Like and share our page and episodes on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or just tell a friend about the show. That would help us out too.
Also, feel free to let us know what you need help with, and we'll try to cover it in a future episode. You can also find us on Instagram at WeNeedHelp_the podcast.
Thank you for listening. We love you. See you next Tuesday.